Good morning YouTubians, it's Kermit's Ghost. Today I'm going to take a look at number 29 on the Cult movie poster, a science fiction apocalyptic time travel movie directed by Terry Gilliam. It's from the year 1995 and it has a runtime of 129 minutes. It can only be 12 monkeys. Let's pop this in the player and see what it's all about. The film stars Bruce Willis as James Cole, Madeleine Stowe as Dr. Catherine Raleigh, Brad Pitt as Jeffrey Goins, Christopher Plummer as Dr. Leland Goins, and David Morse as Dr. Peters. The film opens at an airport with a small boy witnessing a man being shot. Now this is a dream. It's a dream being had by James Cole, who is in a cage on his own but surrounded by many other cages with people in them. Turns out James is a prisoner and we are in the future. Now there's been an event on Earth and 5 billion people have died as a result of a biological virus being released. The remaining obliterated population now live underground. Cole has been selected, or as they put it, volunteered, to go above ground to collect live samples. For example, spiders, cockroaches, that kind of thing, to bring down to the scientists for them to try and bring about a cure for mankind. So James, not really having a choice in the matter, does exactly as he is told. He goes to the surface, collects insects, and then he returns. Now the governors are very pleased with him and they offer him a chance to be paroled. Now the chance they speak of is a mission, and the mission is for him to be sent back in time to find what started the virus and report back so they can send a scientist in his place and try and stop it from ever happening. Unfortunately for James, the science behind the time travel is not very accurate and he's sent to 1990. That's 6 years off the target that was intended. He's arrested, he's examined by a psychiatrist and placed in a mental health institution. Then he's introduced to another patient who's called Jeffrey, played by Brad Pitt, who shows him the ropes. A little while later, Jeffrey helps James escape as he's stolen a key, but James is drugged up to the eyeballs and gets captured. He's locked inside a secure room with restraints. Now when Catherine, his psychiatrist, comes to see him, he has vanished without a trace, and as it turns out he has returned to his own time. Now, James isn't in control of this procedure, the governors in his time are, and they can recall him at will. The scientists are disappointed with James but offer him another chance to find the army of the 12 monkeys, a group who they believe are responsible for the impending disaster. So they send him back first to the middle of World War I, where he's shot in the leg, and then to November 1996. Catherine, his doctor, is given a lecture about a man who claims to be from the future, not Cole, who was found in 1917 on the same battlefield as James. After the lecture and book signing, James appears and forces Catherine into her own car and makes her drive him to Philadelphia, which is 100 miles away. She's reported missing and the police are now on the lookout for her. Whilst in the car, the radio is on and there's a news bulletin about a lost child. James recalls the story and tells Catherine that it's all a hoax. James is still having the dream about the boy at the airport and the man being shot, and they stop at a motel and James ties Catherine to the bed and tells her about his dream. Later, whilst back on the journey, James tells Catherine to stop the car because she's driving. He jumps out after seeing a sign promoting the 12 Monkeys movement. Catherine has a chance at this point to escape, but she decides to stick with James instead. They follow the sign which leads them into an abandoned building where they are attacked by 2 men. Now James gets the better of them by killing them both by caving their skulls in. Following more clues, James finds the building and goes in and holds 3 young people at gunpoint to get more information on the 12 Monkeys movement. They tell him about Jeffrey, who James was in hospital with, and James has a desire to go to Dr. Leland's house, who was Jeffrey's father. Catherine treats James's leg after she notices he's been shot. She removes the bullet but keeps it. Jeffrey, who is now out of hospital and at home, is living with his father Leyland. Now Leyland is an important biochemist and he's giving talks to senators. James turns up and he's quickly detained. Jeffrey comes to his aid, but James gets aggressive and is ejected from the house. James escapes their clutches and returns to the car where he's forced Catherine into the boot, trunk if you're an American. And alone in the woods together, James just disappears again without a trace. She returns home and sees on the news that the missing boy from the radio broadcast earlier has been found, and it was, as James said, a hoax. Now Catherine starts to put things together and she has the bullet examined from James's leg and she is told that it's from the First World War. So she goes through her pictures of the time travelling man from her lecture and sees James in the background of one of the photographs. Convinced now that James is telling the truth about time travel and the impending biodisaster, she heads to the headquarters of the 12 Monkeys and James soon appears outside. And that is where I'll leave the story. So did I enjoy the 12 Monkeys? Yes, I did. I love a disaster movie and I love a time travel movie, and this is both. The acting in this is superb. The story is fascinating with the time loop. I won't go into that. This is Bruce at his peak, and I have to say I enjoyed every single performance in this film. They're all credible. The bio costumes from the future are believable. The entire film is engaging, and I have to point out the picture quality on this Arrow release is fantastic. I would give this film a solid 9.5 out of 10, an absolutely must watch and own in any collection. So that is it. Do you agree with my score or not? Leave your comment down below. I will get back to you, I promise. Give the video a thumbs up. It really does help the channel, and subscribe if you haven't. It's all free. Why wouldn't you? And on that note, all that's left to say is thank you so much for choosing my channel today and watching my video. Take care, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.